Today we get to talk about something really, really interesting that I have not talked about on this channel, and a lot of people have been asking me why I've not talked about it. All the way back in April, this lovely individual on Twitter, Ty, who happens to be, I don't know if this is on their profile or not, ex-Microsoft, they worked on Surface Duo. They tweeted this image, which was a Surface Duo, but it said Android 13. And that is because they had begun the process of porting Android 13 to the Surface Duo. Now, of course, once that was tweeted and a couple more updates were tweeted, this got picked up and got kind of reported on broadly. I think Windows Central picked it up. However, Ty asked me not to make a big deal about it until there was enough to show. There was enough progress that had been made to make it worthwhile. Now, I want you guys to keep something very important in mind. I have several things in mind. How hard this is going to be. There is way more to Duo's version of Android than meets the eye to make those two screens work correctly. This is not a simple procedure, in particular for one person, even a skilled person with intimate knowledge of Surface Duo. This is going to take time, and it's going to basically take recreating the sort of software things that were already created for Duo again. This is going to take time. It's going to be a very interesting process to go through. But at this very moment, we are nearing the point where this can be publicly released for people to test. And I am fortunate enough that Ty was willing to let me test it out a little bit before that. So what I have in my hand is a Surface Duo running Android 13. And what makes this in particular even more interesting is the way he decided to do is basically take the Pixel Experience version of Android and port that over. So yes, it does think it's a Pixel right now. So this is not only going to be Android 13 on the Duo, this is going to kind of almost be a little bit like what the Pixel Fold is going to be like. Now, there have been some tweaks and things done to this to make the postures work, which is incredible that they've been able to get that to work, even to the degree that it does. But again, this is very early days. So what we're going to do in this video, I'm going to do a very brief overview. We're going to set this thing up, and then later on, hopefully not too much later on, I'll have a video showing you guys how to install this and how to do it yourself. But again, for now, let's jump into the overview. All right, so we're going to get this Pixel set up here, and let's get going. So we do not have a SIM in this device at the moment. Should see my Wi-Fi here. And you can see that even with the hinge down the middle, that a lot of this is still working okay. That is an example of, some of the problems, some of the things that, Microsoft had to do to make Duo work properly. And these are obviously things that will have to be recreated to make all this stuff work well with this version of Android 13. So for this, we're not going to copy any apps. We're going to start totally fresh. I think that makes sense. And this is interesting. Did he actually get the fingerprint scanner working? Wow. I don't know if that was like overly difficult or not, but that seems impressive to me that the fingerprint scanner is working correctly. Working quite quickly, actually. Not bad. Okay, so here we are on the home screen, and you can see my apps there. And of course, it does not know or care that there's a hinge down the middle. There are going to be some things that are going to accidentally work well, like the dual panel notification shade that we never got anything quite like that on the normal Surface Duo. You get on one screen or the other. On this, of course, is the entire screen with your quick settings over here, your notifications over there, just like it's going to be on the Pixel Fold. And of course, because it's split, it actually works pretty well here on Surface Duo. Let's open up, let's just do the Play Store here, and you'll see we have our taskbar down here at the bottom. Now, this is not the Pixel Fold taskbar that you swipe up to bring up. This is the one that is just sort of here, or a long press dismisses it. Ty said he might try and switch it over to the other one, but that might not be super easy. So I think what I can do here, yes, I can dismiss it like that or like that, and then of course I can drag it up onto the screen. And that, of course, looks pretty similar to what you expect it to look like on Surface Duo. But, of course, I think a swipe up. How do I go home? Okay, that was weird. And, of course, you can see here that, icons are being split in half, so forth and so on. Let's test out some postures here. So one thing, obviously, is that auto rotate is working pretty well. It's honestly might be faster than it was before, which is really, really funny. But I think that has to do with the fact that there are so many sensors being used to tell what orientation this thing is in. Let's try backing it into the wide angle, and let's try putting it into phone mode. What happens here? Look at that. We have switched into phone mode. Wow. That is working like shockingly well. I cannot believe how well he's managed to implement that. That is really, really good. And then of course, when I open it back up, that is pretty solid. And it's actually, is that two separate layouts? Kind of. Yeah, a little bit, right? So let's try something. Let's get rid of the settings icon here. Let's remove that and let's open it back up. And the settings icon is gone here as well. So it's interesting. So it's sort of like reflowing the desktop. That's pretty cool. And I guess that's probably kind of what's going to happen on the Pixel Fold, right? What does the camera think? That's quite the interesting look. If we go into phone mode though, okay, the camera's working okay. Let's flip it over, and now the camera's facing down. I mean, it took the picture. Camera's working. Let's jump into our settings. Again, this is gonna look pretty good because it's meant to be set up in this dual pane layout. And just so that you guys can see this, Android version is 13. So here's an interesting thing that you can't do on regular Duo. If you swipe along the bottom on this taskbar, you can switch between your open app. Ooh, it actually went into, that's interesting. It actually remembered this grouping. Let's do a swipe up and hold. Look at that. That's really good. This is just like the Pixel Fold. And of course you can dismiss things. That is pretty slick. Let's get like YouTube installed. I want to check and see what that layout looks like on here. After a couple of errors trying to install YouTube, it did actually go ahead and install. We are up and running, and this is just a simple tablet layout. What about phone mode? Does it recognize this and reflow? It does. Absolutely fantastic. Let's jump over to, we'll just do this video here.
Still the king?
Working just fine. Audio obviously working just fine. Going back into tablet mode, it reflows. I mean, it honestly is handling the change from phone mode to what would you call, I guess just tablet mode is what you would call this now, because it's not really book mode. It's handling that really, really well. Now, am I able to drag the open app like that? What happens if I do that? So if I do that, that's interesting. So it puts YouTube here and puts the last open app over here. That is an interesting way to handle that. Now, is there a way to switch? You can't really like oh, you can resize. Look at that. That is awesome. And I think double tap the where the hinge is, and you can actually make them switch sides, which is something that the original Duo cannot actually do, and that would be really useful to have on the actual Duo operating system. Now, of course, one problem from here is that you can't dismiss one app or the other. You're going to dismiss all of them, but you can open up your app drawer and then drag that app over to whatever side you're on. And that, I think, actually does work reasonably well. So guys, there you go. That is the Android 13, the Google Pixel experience installed on the original Surface Duo. Again, there will be a video coming very, very soon showing you guys how to actually do this yourself. What I want from you now, though, is anything you want to see me test, questions you have, concerns you have, drop them in the comments down below, and I will do my best to make follow-up content and show that stuff as well. Huge thanks to Ty for giving me the chance to actually test this stuff now and bring this to you. Hopefully, we'll be cooperating closely to kind of bring more of this stuff to you guys and make sure everybody is kept up to date and understands how to do this, what the risks may or may not be, what the benefits may or may not be. So definitely subscribe and be looking forward to that content over the next days, weeks, and even months. Guys, I will see you in the next video. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.